Hey man, this is the coach.
And I'm the Beacon. And this is the Point Blank Perspectives Podcast.
So man, what we gonna talk about today, man?
So I know on the last conversation we talked about sex frequency. So we talked about how often single married people expect sex and the expectations with sex, good sex versus bad sex and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I came across on social media was initiation of sex.
Initiation?
Yeah, initiation of sex.
Okay.
So like who should really kick off sex? Like who should be the person that gives the green light for sex? Because let me tell you why I'm bringing this up. Let me tell you why I'm bringing this up.
Quick, I gotta hear this one, man.
So I saw this video on IG.
Okay.
And
social media.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's a girl and a guy. They in a room. It's giving the vibe like they in a living room or a bedroom. I couldn't really tell. But the skit is that the guy he's in the bed. He's got a blanket over him. The girl, she's sitting on like the edge of the bed, fully dressed. And the guy is like trying to do like little stuff to get her to kind of loosen up a little bit because you could tell she's like real tense or whatever. And he's like asking her questions. So one of the things he asked her, because she says like, it's cold in here. And he's like, well, you want some blanket? And then she's like, no, I'm all right. And then like at the end of her being all standoffish and everything, she basically just like, all right, the movie's over. I'm getting out of here.
Okay.
So then not too long after that, the guy gets a text. And this is after she leaves. Okay. And now that same girl is sending him a text talking about why didn't you try nothing? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what made me think about, all right, this is one thing to talk about the expectations with sex. It's a whole other thing to talk about like how sex should even be engaged or initiated.
So if we talking about initiating, I think it comes from the foreplay. So if we're communicating and the foreplay is starting it off, so really whoever started that conversation through the text, all during the day, that started the initiation of the action that will proceed later on when you see each other.
Right, and I don't have that context, so I can't tell you what happened up before that video. Okay. So all I have is the context of that video, so I don't have that what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah,
right, okay.
Yeah. So all I have is they're in the room together. The guy is under the blanket or whatever. The girl is sitting on the edge of the bed, fully dressed. They appear to be watching some movie, and at some point, the guy asked her, does she want to get under the blanket because she said she was cold. She says no. And then after the movie's over, she just leaves. But then she texts him and says, why didn't you try nothing?
But he did.
That's what I'm saying.
He was like, yo, come on and get under the blanket with me.
Right.
Now, the way I look at that is, like you said, you really don't know the content. So you don't know if they just met.
Exactly.
And this was their first date.
Right.
But.
Or I don't know if the situation was that he was expecting her to come over for that, and then she got there and started acting different.
Right.
Or like you saying, it's their first time being in that setting, and both of them are nervous because he might not want to do too much.
Right.
She don't want to come off as easy. You know
That's a good word to say. That's a good word. So we're gonna use the word easy. Yeah, we use the word easy. Other people use other words. Yeah, we're gonna use the word easy.
I was dying, bro.
But I get it. It's a lot of times like married people. It can be tricky at times.
Right.
But again, for the married, it's you have to know if you're married, you should know your sex. You should, not your sex, my bad. Let me take some pause and let me take it back. You should know your spouse.
Right.
You should. And depending how long you've been married, both parties know.
But let's even dial it back though, right? Because
go ahead.
I think the one commonality that we'll have with me being single and you being married is that you wasn't always married to your spouse.
Right.
So there was a moment in which y'all were in that situation for the very first time.
Right.
So I think all of us, regardless of married or single now, there is a time where I think initiation of sex in a marriage is going to be something that we talk about. But just to kick the conversation off,
got you.
I think we all have been in the same boat of that first moment when you're alone with your partner, your spouse, or whatever, and you like, I want this to go down. But I'm not sure how this is going to go down. But it happens different ways because, like you said, sometimes it's in text messages and conversations. Sometimes it's it just might happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes one person is more aggressive than the other and letting it be known.
Right.
Like somebody might push up on you or whatever, and you might say, "Okay, I'm with that." So it's different ways that it happens.
Also, a woman may tell you, and you see it on a social media a lot. Where they pull their hair up in a bun. Oh. And that man understand that language. See, married people.
Non-verbal, yeah.
Married people, and not just married, but I'm only speaking married.
Yeah.
We got a certain language.
Right.
And sometimes, as men, we will take it as far as saying, okay, she did this, then that must be the time for us to go ahead and get busy.
Right.
And we're going to make this PG.
Right.
Okay? There are times also where, for us men, we sexual creatures, it could be what she's wearing. If you married and your wife come on with them grandma panties, you already know you ain't getting one. Go ahead. You already know. And she telling you and she don't want to hurt your feelings, so she's saying, no, ain't nothing happening. Come on, is this how it goes?
No, look, I know what you're saying.
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
But I think it depends on the situation because if the person, we just gonna say from the female perspective because that's what sounded like you was talking from.
Okay.
If the female is ready to give it to you, it don't really like the clothes. Like the clothes sometimes can be an indicator, but sometimes they won't be because there's sometimes where a female might not be dressed to where she's trying to impress you or entice you sexually, but she might want sex. And she might show you that. Like she might do that through her actions and not her wardrobe.
Again, let me say this again.
Go ahead.
As a married person.
See, you talking about married. Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
So what are we doing here? Married, single?
No, I got you.
But we're saying, let me take that back. I understand what you're saying. And that's even for married people. If they're wearing certain clothes, yes. I was just saying the grandma panties. There's nothing happening. Just kiss it goodbye. I'm sorry, you're not gonna get it.
All right, well, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Okay, right.
I'm gonna ask questions that I don't want the answers to, so I'm just gonna leave that alone.
Okay, all right, okay.
But running it back just again to the initiation. So I'm really right now just talking about the initiation of the very beginning. So even with the person that you're married to, you had to be able to read certain signs, or you had to be able to have certain conversations in order to know that was the next step that y'all were taking. And I think the reason why that video was so, I don't want to say triggering, but it set off an alarm with me when I saw it is because I've been in that situation before where I've been with a female and I'm trying to do like the gentleman thing because that's just how I am. I let the situation play out. And in that situation, I left because I was in her space. And I left at a certain point. And then when I left, I got a text saying, why didn't you try nothing? And I was confused because there was no signs at all.
Right.
And I'm not even saying from being there. I'm saying even leading up to that. That gave me any indication that that's what the situation was.
Tonight's going to be a great night at the end.
Right. Like that. Okay. There was none of that in our relationship. So when I got that text, it was like, where is this coming from? Like, because when I was there, if that's what you wanted, why didn't you just make a move and let me know?
Now, my question, just on that situation,
right?
How long did you two guys know each other?
Well, first of all, wasn't no two guys.
No, I'm not saying.
We an audio podcast. I gotta be very clear.
Okay. How long was it that you knew that female?
I knew her for a couple years.
All right, so I'm assuming, and I'm speculating. Maybe she felt as though you should already knew.
And that's the thing. A lot of females do that.
Right, and that's unfair to
Right.
the male.
Right, a lot of females do that, and that's why to me this conversation is important.
Right.
Because a lot of females make the assumption that a man just knows, but the problem is even when a man knows, you still kind of sort of got to tread with caution because in the event that he reads it wrong, it's a huge thing. Like we can go to jail and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
We ain't got time for that. Like for me personally, that was the reason why when I was in that room, I didn't like try nothing because I'm like, if she's not giving me any signs of this is what it is, I'm not about to assume that just because we in a room together.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen people do that. Like I've seen people be in a situation where it's like, oh, she called me over, so she know what it is, or this, that, and the third. It's like, well, was that the situation before? Well, nah, but if she called me at this time, then it got to be. And it's like, I hear you, but it might not be.
Right.
And you got, and I think a lot of guys, especially young men, get caught up in that.
Right.
Like they get caught up in the
rape case.
Exactly.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you know, and it puts us in a dangerous spot because you know you don't want to be viewed as the guy that comes off as, oh, I'm scared of women and all that, but you got to protect yourself.
Right. You don't. So it's a double-edged sword.
Right.
You don't want to be the guy that I'm scared of women, and I don't want to be the aggressive, trying to be real aggressive barbarian type.
Exactly.
And now so either way you don't get none.
Exactly.
So you're really at the mercy of the female.
Right.
And when it comes to that, not unless you bullying your way and you taking it,
right,
she's going to somewhat dictate, be the initiator.
Exactly.
Now you, like I said, from a married point of view, depending on how long you know your wife, and you know your spouse, and you have an idea. Let me see if she move a certain way. Us men say, oh, she moved away, I got a chance. Oh, man, I got a chance. And then, so now it's let me touch the water. Because the initiating was, in my mind, I think I got a chance. She did this. And I may just touch her.
Right.
Lightly. And if a move, okay. So a lot of times it's tricky. I think 70% of the time, the woman will be the initiated. You got those that you have 30. You have the 30%, and the reason why I'm saying 70% is because the double-edged sword. Now
here's the question I have for you because I want to be clear on this.
Okay.
When you say the initiation, is this the very first time or is this overtime? Because to me that's two different things. So like if I'm answering that question from the very first time, I think the woman should be like 95% the initiator the very first time. Because the very first time, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The very first time, the man needs that green light from the woman to know that this is a safe space that we can proceed.
Right, exactly.
But if I make that assumption as a man the very first time, I'm setting myself up for potential charges.
Yeah.
And I'm not playing that game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, when we talk about the very first time of initiating sex, that has to come from the woman like 95%. And the reason I'm leaving that little gap there for the 5% is because I don't want men to feel like you should never make any type of move at all.
Right.
But I'm just saying, if you make that move, you better have some concrete signs or messaging from the woman that lets you know that that's okay.
Well, it can so the 5%. If you're saying it like that, the 5% can be, I bring home flowers. The 5%. I'm gonna give it 20%.
Okay.
And the reason why, since you brought it that way, it had me thinking, especially if you got kids.
Okay.
And you got little kids.
Okay.
You know what? You get home from work. She been with the kids all day. I got them.
Got you.
Give her some rest. That's, you know what?
Now let me ask you this: is this the banking system? Or this is not the banking system?
No, this is the banking system in initiative.
Okay.
Because if she's with little people, I call them little people.
Yeah.
If she's with little people all day, sex is the last thing she's even thinking about. She's got to deal with these little people with all these different attitudes and all. So when you come along, she's hoping that you relieve these little people so she can have some time to herself. So even if you sit there, I bring you flowers, or the little things that can be initiated. Men, women, it can be the little things that initiates if you're going to proceed in that physical activity. It can be, again, flowers. It can be
Text messages.
Text messages, yes. Text messages are big.
If y'all live together, I would imagine it'd be like little notes or something around the house or something.
Notes you may not see. Most people look at their phone all the time, so that's why I say notes. I don't even notes. Oh, I didn't see the note. I know you lying. I'll put it right there in the mirror. I know you be in the mirror. So to avoid that, I don't want you to BS me.
Right.
So you know what? Text you. You're behind all on your phone.
Right.
That's initiated. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, that's real.
Everybody's phone is yeah.
That's real.
And it could be like, again, the little things. And we're talking about initiate. There may be when you first start. You know, your girl is telling you when y'all first started dating, these are the things I like.
Right.
And that's initiating, you get me these things. You know, because that's showing that you are attentive.
Now the funny thing about you saying that is, and I don't know, because now I'm thinking in real time, but when you just said that, it made me think of those situations now where it seemed like people now, they do like the flyouts. So like they'll talk to people on social media and then they'll fly them out somewhere, and the expectation is I flew you out so you know what this is, and then the female get there and be like, no. So, and I don't know because I ain't never did that, but I've seen those skits too.
Right, and I have seen them too.
Yeah.
But if we want to be, we not even gonna get into that because that's a whole.
Yeah, I don't want to dive too deep into that.
Right, because that's a whole different thing, and I'm gonna just say this one thing to that. That's it. That's considered sex trafficking. So we need to be careful when we say, "Oh yeah, I'm balling," and the chick can sit up there and whatever. The person, I'm not gonna say the female, but the person can sit up there and set you up. Now you down for sex trafficking because you took someone across state lines for one thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we talking about initiating.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
but the only reason why that is kind of important to bring up is because that is a way that people are trying to initiate sex nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we don't do that, but there's some guys out here who got a couple dollars and they think that just because they flew somebody out,
right,
that's the automatic. Oh, well, you owe me because I spent this much.
Right.
And it's like,
yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad I'm married.
Well, I ain't married, but I'm glad that ain't my game.
Because I'm a truck driver. I can't fly y'all. I can put you on the back of the rig. I'm gonna tell you. You know what I mean? Get the passenger side. We gonna ride.
This bull, man.
We gonna ride. We ride this thing straight on down. Go ahead on the passenger side. No, but
all right. So getting back. So you said in terms of initiation, you saying the woman has 80% and the man has 20% on that very first time. I can go for that. I think I'm just like I'm treading that line, man, because as a single man, like
it's rough. The single man is rough these days in time because it's rough with the initiative because you really don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know what type of person you get ready to deal with.
Exactly.
When it comes to that.
Exactly.
Especially if this is the first time.
Right. Like for me, and it's funny because I've been in situations before where guys will tell me all the time, like I stay sleeping on situations. Because my thing is I don't look at situations and think, oh, this person wants to have sex with me.
Right.
Like I just don't do that.
Right.
Now there might be people who I'm attracted to and I might want to do that. But even then I'm still not going to lead with thinking that that's the outcome of our interactions.
Got you.
So it's funny because I've had a lot of people see me interact with a female and then say to me, oh, what's up with y'all? And I'm like, nothing. That's my friend. That's my homie.
Right.
And, you know, for me, it's like, well, what made you think that? And it'll be, oh, well, the way she smiled at you. And I'm like, well, don't females smile? Like, don't they?
Let me talk about that real quick.
Go ahead.
I remember back in the day when I was young, us as guys, we felt as though She said hi to me, so she want me. What? We talked about that before, and they feel though that was the initiative. No, she just said hi because she's being nice.
Right.
And I would tell my buddies all the time, "Oh man, she said hi," and I would just look at them, and I'm like, "Man, no, man." Yeah. She was just being nice. She didn't, and I had to tell one of my buddy. He was like, "Fred, you hating?" I was like, "No, man, I'm not hating on you. I'm just letting you know that, hey, man, she didn't even say your name. She just said, hey, everybody. And you said, oh, no, she want me." What? And he felt though that was initiating of her. Mm-hmm. I said, no, man, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
I mean, and that's not to say that sometimes when those innocent actions are happening that there's nothing there at all.
Right.
But it's just to say that for you to take a general greeting and run with it to think, oh, that means she want to give me the draws or something like that.
Right.
That's insane.
Back in the day, that's how it was.
No, people do that now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not an old thing. People do that now.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad.
Like I said, like literally, there's been times where a female says hi to me and she smile or whatever, and people around me will be like, "Oh man, what's up? Like what's up
Right.
with y'all?" And I'm just like, "That's just her being nice. Like that's just how she is." But then what they'll say is, "Oh well, she don't greet me like that," and I'm like, "Well, I ain't got nothing to do with that."
Right.
I don't know. Now there could be some validity because maybe she is greeting me in that way because she's interested. But that don't mean that because she said hi or greeted me nicely means that I need to just go all in.
Right.
So that's the thing. But there could be some, like if a female's showing you certain favors in terms of like things that she's doing with you that are exclusive to you and not doing it with everybody else, that could be an inkling that she's interested if y'all not dating or whatever. So while there's some validity to that, I'm just saying don't take that and run with that because dudes be taking it and running with it.
Ooh, yes indeed. So what do you think the signs made that the green light, the initial when that female did that initial, that was the green light to go ahead, you good?
I mean, females will always let you know. That's always my thing. A female will always let you know when that is when it's time for that.
Okay.
So when they let you know, you ain't gonna have to guess.
Right.
They either gonna say it to you, they gonna send it to you in a text message. Right. They gonna do things like with their body. They gonna touch you in certain ways.
Right.
There's a lot of signs that you'll get to know, like, okay, this is okay.
Right.
But if she's not doing anything of any sexual nature, if she's not saying anything to you sexually, if she's not flirting with you in a sexual way or touching on you in a sexual way or putting y'all in any type of situation like that, like if she's not doing that, she's probably not ready for that or is probably not interested in that at all with you.
Right.
So that's always been my thing. Like the female will let you know.
Yes. And then when you're married and, you know, us men, I feel as though your wife will let you know, especially it can be the point where she initially I said, you know what, I'm sleepy. That can be a sign of, you know, let's get busy.
Okay. I'm sleepy?
Yeah. You know what, I'm tired, I'm sleepy. I'm going upstairs to bed.
Oh, okay.
You feel what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
And that was the first sign. And you didn't pick it up. And so she go upstairs and she come downstairs, may have nothing on, may have something real sexually provocative on. Then you can, and then she'll just go upstairs and start laughing. So when it comes to the wife or, you know, us, some men, you know, they may want to initiate it. They may just have on Speedos and cowboy boots. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I'm putting it out there.
That's a lot going on.
Yes, it is. It is a lot going on. but a lot of times we should know our spouse. Yeah. We know if you ain't got no chance, you come on, man, you know.
And it's the same thing with being single. I mean, because it gets to a point where you know if a person is into you that way or not. Because like I said, women will let you know. Like I can't say that enough. Women will let you know. There hasn't been one time where I've had sex with a woman and I didn't know that that's what the situation was. Like
Okay.
by the time we got to that point, even if I was kind of shocked that we were there,
Okay.
I knew that was a welcoming thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew that was something that like she welcomed.
Okay.
So that's why for me it's like if you're forcing the issue, or if you're being too aggressive and she's not giving that back to you,
Right.
she's probably not interested.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
But
Yes.
like I said, a lot of guys get in trouble with that, man.
Okay.
Especially when you're younger, because you're thinking with that instead of the head on top of your head.
Yeah, you're right about that.
You know what I'm saying? So, if nothing else, man, the young guys, man,
Just be careful.
Yeah, whoever, because it's not just exclusive to young guys, but
Right.
Anybody out there that ain't learned the lesson yet, when a female wants you, you know she gonna let you know.
Right. So, what would be the signs that it's not we gonna do that?
I would say it's again, if she's not putting you in any type of situation where that can happen on her own. If she's not inviting you somewhere where y'all can be one-on-one, if she's not telling you like that something about you is attractive, if she's not flirting with you, touching you in certain ways, looking at you in certain ways, if there's nothing sexual at all happening between y'all, she don't want it.
It's a
you.
good chance that you're just you're striking out.
Yeah, it's a good chance she don't want it.
Now, if you married and you text your wife and she doesn't text you back at that present time that you in your mind feel though, okay, this is the sign, or you text her, and when she texts you back, she went down a whole different road. Oh, you did. That may be a problem because you said, she's seen your text, but she's saying, not right now. I got something else to discuss,
right.
Or it ain't nothing happening. You know. Also, if she's up there and you come through the door, and she been with them kids, and you got a smile on your face. If you don't go get those kids, that may be that's a problem. There's gonna be a sign because you gonna go and think that, oh yeah, this and that, and she's like, no, I ain't never jumping on.
So let me ask this question, because from a married perspective, obviously you got to a point where y'all are very comfortable sexually with each other. So does the initiation become less fun the longer you get married? And I'm not even asking you to answer that based on your specific situation. I'm assuming you got married friends and y'all talk or whatever. So just an overall, what you feel like you've heard or learned from different situations or marriages, do you feel like the initiation of sex gets easier? Does it get harder? Does it get boring? Like, what changes when you're married to initiate the sex?
Nothing really should change. It's just, how can I go approach it?
Okay.
It's how what new way can I do it to approach,
right.
to even say I'm initiating. I would like to have some.
right.
You know what I mean? It's just and a lot of times it's just the simple little things. So you don't have to get, let me get you 500 dozen roses. No, like again, and I go back to this, especially if you got kids and your wife does not work. Grabbing those kids when you get in, that's a lot. That's relieving some of the stress that she's been going through all day. That is, so it don't never have to be something different. It's just consistent. And you can't always think every time you initiate it that's going to happen.
That's a really good one.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a really
just
good
because I initiated, it's going to happen. Well, here we go. And I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but I don't care. I care. There's times when me and Angie texting. Oh yeah, we going back. We might talk about that. We get in the room. I look at her.
Yeah, you did mention that.
Okay, all right. I look at her and I'm like, yo, just turn the TV down. And I really don't go see. You know what I'm saying?
down.
Just turn the TV down. Because you married, it's like, I know, you know, my initiation, the thought was there. The thought, oh yeah. But when it was time, it was, I'm too tired. You know what? I'm good. So the thought can be there, and you want to, but it just won't happen.
Yeah, no, that's wild, man.
Single people don't. I ain't got the problem. But even if you're, so this is what I say: you're single up until you get married. Just because you're living together doesn't mean you're married.
That's a good point.
You're just living together. So you still, but you still, and the reason I'm saying that is because just because we live together, I still should not stop trying to please my spouse. I'm talking about man and woman. I still should not stop. When we're talking about initiative, I still shouldn't. What can I do to make her smile? What things can I do to show her that I am still attractive to her? We get comfortable, and once you get comfortable, that initiative that we're talking about is fading away,
right?
Because we're comfortable now,
right?
Like, man, you know what, man? She know, man. I ain't got to send no roses. You know what? Yeah, I had a rough day. She had a rough day. She with them kids. She been home all day. You're not even thinking about that. You worrying about yourself. So you gotta always, to initiate, you should also think about the other person. What can I do to reach that goal? Right. That's what it comes down to. Right. And if it means I gotta, put some clothes in the washing machine, fold some clothes up. You know what I mean? If I don't have a dishwasher, wash the dishes. Even if she been home, all right, just wash the dishes. So, yeah.
And that's like, I want to say that's like, it's really attentiveness. There's a certain level of emotional awareness that you have to have with what you're talking about. Right. And I think those things can apply also when you're single too. Okay. Because it's not like, whatever single woman you're dealing with, it's not like she don't have, stress on her in her life or whatever. It just might look differently because y'all are not married. But she just may have some things that she's going through. Like maybe she had a rough day at work or something. And now just you checking in to see how she's doing, or showing attentiveness is, really key in the situation, even when you're married or single. And I think because you were talking about with the kids, so you could be messing with a single woman that got kids, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I never think when the single woman got kids, if I'm dealing with her in that way, I never think to do nothing with her kids because we not in that situation.
That's different.
So I'm just saying, all of my attentiveness as a single person is focused on that woman and not like the overall picture. Whereas when you're married, the focus should be on
these days and times.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
A woman, I've seen it on social media. A woman said, "You're not gonna feed my kids. You're not gonna do this for my kids. We a package." So
and she has every right to say that.
No, what I'm saying is that can be the initiative.
I know, but I think that's a slippery slope because
yes, it is.
Depending on what the situation is for y'all. So like, if I'm dealing with a single woman and she knows that I'm single and I'm not looking to be in a relationship, I'm probably not going to be around her kids at all.
You shouldn't.
Yeah.
And that person shouldn't ask you to buy their kids nothing. Right. They shouldn't ask you to do anything for their kids. Right.
Yeah. Because to me, like, if I don't plan on being there for a long time, why am I going to present that situation as if that's what it's going to be? Because then that's disruptive to the kid.
Right, and that's a total different subject because we can talk about that, but yeah, we'll stick with we'll get to that, but we'll talk about that at another episode. We'll talk about that. Another
thing when it comes to the initiation of sex, because I've had this conversation with a couple of people, and I don't do it. I've seen and heard people that do this.
Go ahead.
But they don't be straight up about the sex. So like for me, when it comes to sex, I'm not going to have sex with somebody and they think that the situation is going to be more than what it is. And
gotcha.
I've come across in some conversations where you talk to a guy and they'll tell you, yeah, I'm gonna tell her this because if I tell her this, then I know it'll lead to boom, 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 boom. Mm-hmm. And I also saw this video one time where this guy and this girl was having a conversation about sex, and the guy was telling the female that they're stupid for giving certain guys sex. And the female was saying, well, how are we stupid if we're giving you sex based off of what you're telling and showing us? Right. Like if you're telling me and showing me that we have a potential to be something and there's no signs that that's not the case, and then after I give it to you, now you're telling me, oh, this is really what it is. She was saying like, how is that my fault? And
that's not her fault.
But the guy in the conversation was telling her that like women are stupid and they got to choose better. Like that was his response.
Okay.
And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, well, like you saying, how is that fair to the woman? Like,
right?
You sit there and paint this picture of,
right?
Y'all can be something, or you want to be more than just sex and all that with her. And then when you get what you want, now you're going to try to make her seem like. Mm-hmm. Like she was playing herself or something.
Right, and that's like, well, if you're using that, they're like somebody, for a job. Mm-hmm. I'm doing what you want me to do on the premises that you're going to give me that position.
Right.
And then I do it, and then it's like, you know what? No, we wasn't going to give you the job. So you mean tell me that person is stupid, whatever?
According to that dude's logic, yes.
And you know what? Some people should not even say anything. So back to initiative. A lot of times when it comes to your spouse mm-hmm. and you're married, mm-hmm. and people don't like when I use this word, you get taught what is the proper thing, the initiative for your spouse. Mm-hmm. But if you was never taught it, or never, if you was never taught or seen how a man mm-hmm. should do it mm-hmm. in some type of way, at least a basic, like open a door, pull the chivalry. Okay, here we go. Chivalry is the best form of initiative because you're showing her respect. I'm opening the door for you. Mm-hmm. I'm pulling your chair. Mm-hmm. I'm walking on the side. We're walking down the street. I'm on the street side. Mm-hmm. A lot of time for you to pump gas, you don't get out and pump gas. Mm-hmm. Those things, a lot of men mm-hmm. either forgot or was not taught or don't care.
Right.
It doesn't matter what the woman says. I got it. No, I got your door. Right. Like in your situation. Mm-hmm. I got the door. Mm-hmm. They may budge, but in the back of their mind, they like, oh wow. Mm-hmm. I never had nobody do that for me. Mm-hmm. So we got to get back to at least a basic.
Right. And it's funny you say that because that is a way to initiate sex. Mm-hmm. But I just want to be clear, the chivalry shouldn't be, the sex shouldn't be the premise of why you're doing the chivalry.
No.
Yeah, I want to be clear about that.
No, it's not. Because, that shouldn't be
because I don't want women to now feel like because the guy opened the door, that means he want to have sex with me.
Right.
Because I'm a guy who does that. Like I do all the chivalrous stuff.
Right.
And that's just how I am. Like I'm just a gentleman when it comes to that.
That's how you was raised. You was taught that.
Right. But I'm just saying, if we put the premise out there that chivalry is an initiator of sex.
Oh no, I'm not putting.
You get what I'm saying?
Right, I got you.
I just want to be clear. Yeah, I just want to be clear because I get what you're saying, mm-hmm. and I think what you're saying is more so for the married in relationships, because that's a way. Like when you're in a relationship with somebody, some of the other stuff, some of the chivalry stuff, you probably dies down a little bit because you kind of get familiar and used to the person that mm-hmm. that you're with because y'all been married for a certain amount of time, y'all been dating for a certain amount mm-hmm. of time. And sometimes just the reignition of doing those things you just said, opening the door for the woman, all the stuff you just said.
Right, and not to cut you off.
No, you good.
When we're talking about the initiative, we're talking about chivalry. And I'm talking to women at this present moment. There are times where you have to demand.
Yep.
If you feel as though your husband or whoever you're in a relationship with is starting to slip and get comfortable in those basic things, you need to let them know, excuse me. And it's as simple as, excuse me, you're not going to get the door for me? Oh, my bad. I need to get you back together because you slipping right now. You tripping. But you don't go on like that. You just say, thank you very much. And when it's time to open the door for you, and you just stand there. Right. What's good? You can't open the door for me? Oh, come on, girl. If you get that response, ladies, that's a red flag.
Yeah, no,
because if you can't do the basic,
right?
Even if, no matter how a woman acts, a woman's a woman. A woman's a woman.
Right.
All women like to. I don't care. We ain't gonna get to that part. But all women like to feel wanted, feel the chivalry. You got some. Okay.
Yeah, we ain't gonna dive.
I gotta watch my words.
But what we will say, because we've been taking a lot of this from the male perspective,
right.
But from the female perspective, and I'm gonna keep it real simple. If he can't open your door, then you shouldn't open your legs.
Ooh. Okay.
If he can't open your door, then you shouldn't open your legs. I mean, that's like the bare minimum of him showing you some sort of respect.
Okay. All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like for a guy, to me, if a guy is really trying to get you in that situation, like if he's really trying to get you sexually and all that, and you ask him to open the door for you, he can't even open the door for you. To me, that's like, do you really want to put your body with this person?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's 100%, but I'm just saying that it's just something. It's a mindset that if women just take that one thing and start to really pay attention to how guys are treating them or showing up for them,
right?
It'll probably save you from a bad character person,
right,
or a bad character guy,
right. And so, guys, if you feel some type of way and you feel that, oh man, them dudes are hating, then that means I can't speak for the Beacon. The coach is exactly talking to you. I can't speak for the Beacon. I'm talking to you. Step your game up. That's your problem now. It's the little things. To get to your goal, come on, man, it's the little things.
Right. And
it doesn't take too long. Just do the little things.
And it's crazy because those are the things that makes a woman pay you attention.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So even if you're not the most handsome dude, or even if you ain't got the most money and all that kind of stuff, these are things that you can do for free that'll make a woman look at you like, wow, like, he really pays attention to me, or wow,
exactly.
he really makes sure that I'm good, or
right. So exactly.
I don't understand when guys don't do that, and then be mad because females are masculine or this and that. It's like you're not even putting her in a position to be feminine.
Right. And I gotta say this. Men, if you have a son, and women, if you have a little boy, you teach them early. Open the door for your mother. And a lady, open the door for me, baby. You have to train these young boys to be a suitable husband or a suitable partner for somebody.
Right.
And they just not out there wilding.
Right.
We got to get back to the, I want this, but I don't want to work for it. I'm just give you some money.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, you gotta stand for more than that.
Yeah.
You gotta stand for more than that, because a person only gonna treat you how you allow them to treat you.
Yeah. That, you know what? That is true. That is true.
So if you don't have certain demands or standards for yourself in terms of who you're dealing with, and this ain't about how much money he got in his bank or how big his house is, a car, or job titles and all that. This is about literally how a man treats you, like how he shows up for you. If you're not setting a standard for what that should look like for you, then you're going to get what you get.
But another thing and the problem with that is, Beacon, is some people just don't know.
Yeah, I know.
And every time I see a man or boy I see, especially when I see men, and you walking, and you're walking and she's on the outside of the street, or I see you. It's time for y'all get up, and she has something nice on. You get up. You don't even try to help her put a coat on. She's struggling to put the coat on. The little things. The first thing I think of is who raised you.
Right.
Who taught you how to be a man? Because some of us say I'm a man because I'm gonna say you are still a little boy.
Right.
And I hate to say that. And I'm not in the bash. We not in the bash nobody. We're just
but this
bringing
ain't
the
bashing.
point up.
Yeah, this ain't bashing. This is just bringing awareness to what's real.
Right, and that's what it is.
I mean, because I talk to single women, and I deal with single women, and you hear the stories of what they've been through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they tell me like, oh, I appreciate that you do X, Y, and Z, and it's like, all right. I mean, I'm not doing it for nothing, but that's just how I am. But it's crazy that it's a common thing that's not happening.
Right. Exactly.
And then on the flip side, you hear, people talk about, how women don't want to be feminine no more and this, that, and the third, but it's like they kind of go hand in hand. If we not showing up in a way to, make them feel feminine, then how can we expect them to still want to be feminine towards us?
Right. And you have to sit up there, and it doesn't matter what party. It doesn't matter what man or female, whatever. Take the initiative take the initiative if you're trying to reach a goal. It ain't gonna make you no less than a man or a woman. But it ain't gonna hurt. Right. So my final perspective on this whole thing is, I wish I had me some music with a violin. My final perspective on this whole episode and the initiative is you're gonna love it if you do it. It makes that person feel like you're paying attention. And that's what I have to say. Just keep it up if you're doing it. Beacon?
I guess my final perspective is going to go back to why I wanted to have this conversation in the first place, which is please be clear on what you want when you put yourself in certain situations. Because again, watching that video, here's this female that's alone with this grown man in his room or at his house by herself, and she's her body language is giving off, I don't want anything to do with you. But then she sends him a text after he leaves talking about, why didn't you try nothing? And my thing is, if she would have, trust and believe, if a woman, unless you're not attractive to that man, which most men, that's rare that they'll be like, I'm good if a female is like really attracted to them. But unless it's that, if the female gives you the signs, or if you as a female give the sign of, this is what I want while you're there, 9 times out of 10, the man is going to give you the reaction that you want. But if you don't ever give him any type of signal that that's what you want, you can't be mad at him for not pushing up, because for us, that's legal troubles. That's legal issues for us, and we can't afford to be doing that. So if you want a man, like, let it be known. And I'm not saying you got to be all super aggressive with him and do all of that, but at least tell him, or at least, give him some sort of signal or something to let him know, like, it's okay to touch me, it's okay to kiss me or something. Give him something. But don't just give him nothing and think that he's just going to be able to read your mind and know that that's what you want when you sitting there with your arms folded and fully dressed. Like, he's not going to know that. A lot of men try to be gentlemen and they try to respect y'all. But for whatever reason, sometimes that gets viewed as the man is scared and he don't want it. That's not what that means at all. In some cases, maybe it is, but it's a lot of cases where that man is just trying to be respectful. So that's my final perspective.
So on that note, this is the coach.
And I'm the Beacon. And this has been the Point Blank Perspectives Podcast.